Welcome to another episode of Trace Catch-Up Session. My name is Lelo Motswane and today's guest is Skies Are Blue. Skies Are Blue is one of the performers at the Africa Rising Music Conference taking place on the 23rd and 24th of May 2023. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you so much.
Great.
How does it feel that finally the music conference is finally happening? You're going to be one of the headliners. Are you looking forward to it? Like, what are the main things that you're looking forward to?
I'm excited, firstly. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I think it's going to be magic, just being around like-minded people that are passionate about music and art and passionate about Africa, and where we're at as a continent and what we have to offer in terms of a creative melting pot that exists here.
And what, as a musician and as a songwriter, what is one of the takeaways that you think people will get from you?
I think that it's very important for me to deliver a message in my music and not just perform and not just sing, I put my heart on my sleeve, as a lot of artists do.
Yeah.
And when we perform, that's us basically giving our most vulnerable self and offering it to people. So I like to create that type of experience. And I like people to leave my performance feeling like, wow, that influenced or changed or made them feel something, not just any type of performance.
Like it was just another conference, there we go again,
yeah,
and then you move on with our lives.
Exactly. It's a good energy.
And speaking about influence and speaking about vulnerability or touching on those key things, I mean, you had a name change throughout your music career. I mean, it spans like 6 years, over 6 years now.
Yes.
And you've gone from Kyla Nicole to Skies Are Blue. What brought up the name change, and what kind of, is that part of the vulnerability when you talk about that journey?
Yeah, I think it's, as an artist, you have to sort of work your way into the industry. People have to get to know you. They have to know your sound. I was doing a lot more pop commercial music, and I don't think my listeners were ready for the most vulnerable version of me. So I built my way up in the industry. I had music on radio, but it was a lot more commercial. And now I'm at a place where I think people are ready to get to know who I truly am. And that's exactly what I'm offering in my music. So it hasn't necessarily changed too much. It's just closer to my heart. And it's me offering a true version of who I am.
And as a music fan, I mean, going from Kyla to Skies Are Blue, what difference will I get? Is it from the sound? Is it from the storytelling? Is it from the personality itself?
I think personality, I've always just been who I am.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed too much. Maybe I've become more comfortable and found my feet in the industry now. But it's definitely, I'd like to say, transcending R&B. So it's ever changing and ever growing, ever morphing.
Yeah.
I don't like to be in one lane. But it's a lot more storytelling. It's a lot more of my personal experiences in the industry, in my personal life.
Yeah.
That now I'm giving people to listen to, and to connect with me.
Touching on your personal stories and touching on that particular journey, do you want to let us in more on where did this whole music journey start? What informed it? What made you think that, no, I'm going to be so audacious in my dreams that this is the particular path that I'm going to take?
Sure. First of all, I was very naughty in school. I wasn't really with the whole music, the work thing and focusing on homework and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting that message at all, by the way. But I was in class at 8 or 9 years old and writing lyrics at the back of my books.
Yeah.
I knew very young that that's exactly what I wanted to do. Had the desktops, I'm giving away my age, but like the computers with the whole motherboard, and I had this little headset with the microphone, and I used to try and make songs and run up to my brother and say, just beatbox here for me, make a beat. And I was remixing old school music from the 80s and 90s, Tavares from the Motown era, and Sybil, Sade. And I was trying to remix songs like that at a very young age. My father actually taught my brothers and I how to sing. So we had this whole Jackson 5 thing going on at home. In the evenings, we'd all gather around the hi-fi,
Yeah.
and he'd do breathing exercises with us with our
Okay.
diaphragm and teach us how to sing. So it all started very, very young and very early. And then I never let go of it. I think I recorded my first song when I was about 17 years old in a kitchen
Oh, nice.
with the the eggshell
Yeah.
containers.
So you had like a soundproof studio, makeshift
in the little
soundproof studio.
kitchen, and I
Yeah.
was so excited. And then, I worked my way up from there. I had my first single on radio when I was 24. It went to #1 on 5FM and across the country. So it was a very good entrance for me into the music industry. And then built my way up and found myself here.
And I mean, reaching that level of stardom at such a tender age, does that one inform like the kind of direction that you take with your next album and the kind of persona that you're trying to build? Or does that kind of does it get away from you at some point? Like, does self get away from you?
I think for me, I've always been more of an introvert. It was always the creation of the music that was the most exciting for me. So being in a studio, learning from producers, sitting behind them and seeing what they're doing and creating the samples, creating the harmonies. The actual creative process was always the part that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
So when it came to notoriety and that type of stuff, that's not what excited me. It was amazing to have DJ Fresh say, "This is the hottest new song in Africa."
Yeah.
I fell down and I was like, no ways, that's not me. But at the same time, that's not the part that I look forward to. So I think it also helps stay grounded when you're not in it for the fame, for the recognition, for everything that comes with it. You're in it because you just love how the music makes you feel and how you feel when you create.
Yeah.
And that's also helped me stay grounded.
I think when artists mention the musical part of it and the creation part of it and really shy away from the fame part of it, is fame so detrimental to one's career that there's you constantly need to make an effort not to make it part of the journey? Because frankly, I just feel like it is part of it. No, it is part and parcel of it, right?
Yes.
And we can't run away from it. So why is it so important to always make mention of the fact that, like, don't get too hooked on it?
I think people forget that the journey is part of the process. It's not necessarily about the end goal. Like when I get that award or when people recognize me or when I have a lot of money around me and I can pop bottles in the club, that's when I've made it, or that's when I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And the actual process falls by the wayside. And I think that as artists, we need to also give ourselves credit and appreciate every part of the journey, and not necessarily once I've arrived, then, that's when I'm going to get excited. So for me, that's always what I've appreciated, every small step, every small victory, and even the doors that have closed, it helps you grow. It's part of the process. And the journey is the most beautiful part. Yes, it is important to appreciate the big things that happen and be excited about the fame and the recognition, because that's people responding to your art.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very important to not compare yourself to other people. And these days of social media, everybody's success and achievement is they're thrown into your
Thrusted in your
face.
face, yeah.
And without you knowing, you don't celebrate your little win because it's not as big as that person that you're being compared to or you're comparing yourself to.
Yeah.
And it can be detrimental, especially because we're creatives. And being true to yourself, that is the art.
Yes.
And nobody else can be you. So we need to remember this. And I think that if we put more emphasis on the journey, it's not necessarily like, we're comparing ourselves to other people.
The comparison part. I mean, you're touching about the doors closing, and you're touching about, once again, I mean, at the back of my question about fame, are there safeguards that are put in place for, especially at such a young age? Because it is quite a precarious industry for a young girl specifically, right? What safeguards are those? And did you get that support that you needed?
I think it's it's like you say, as a creative and as an artist, you're running your own brand. It's
Yeah.
like a business. It's
Yeah.
like being an entrepreneur. And there's no blueprint for, like, you're going to college and after you go to college, you go get a job and you go into the corporate world.
Yeah, it's
There's
not
almost like a
contemplative
blueprint.
whatsoever.
Yeah. With being an artist, you have to sort of, it's almost like making it up as you go. You can't compare yourself to another artist and look at their journey and say, I'm going to do it like them.
Yeah.
So you have to find your feet. And I think that for me, what really helped me was being in control of everything that I did. There were record labels that came along that I signed with that you have to learn, you make your mistakes. But even through that, I was doing my artwork myself. I was designing the clothing. I was making the clothing.
That's
I was doing the covers for my songs that were coming out. I was co-producing
one-man
the
band.
music. I was doing absolutely everything by myself and with some people assisting. And yes, it's more tiring to do that. But at the end of the day, you keep control and you sort of guide the narrative of where you want everything to go.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot harder for people to come in and just take over and just guide you in a way that you're not supposed to be going in.
Oscillating from songwriter, musician, wardrobe, stylist, makeup artist, creative, that must take a toll on you.
Yeah, look, now I've got an amazing team around me, Sold Out Records, and they help me manage everything. And it's nice to be able to just sit back and be an artist now.
Yeah.
But I'm involved in absolutely everything. And it's like I said, it's like being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When you're an entrepreneur and you have a brand or a business, you don't go hire managers and people to do admin and people to do this and market. You do everything yourself. That's your baby.
Yes.
And going back, that's what helped me not have the wool pulled over my eyes and people sell me dreams, because I'm involved in every small little process.
Cool.
And it's a longer journey like that. But I think the reward is also a lot better when you hear your music on radio and when you see people actually reacting and feeling something. You sit back and you're like I was involved with all of this. I didn't just arrive and sing a song and leave,
I made this. I gave birth to this wonderful body of work.
Yeah.
Speaking of a wonderful body of work, you've got a new album coming up.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So it's called 13 Sundays. I like to think that my music is for Sundays, whether it's Sunday on the way to a club or just waking up and cleaning the house on a Sunday, chilling,
like that
taking it
companion
easy.
that you have for a Sunday.
Yeah, I think that the album is really going to be for people that just need that like laid back music. There are a few up-tempo songs, but still more of a Sunday vibe, Sunday evening vibe. We worked really hard on the project. So what we're doing is we're releasing a single every 4 weeks.
Okay.
With some music videos and visuals in between. And we've got some really amazing artists. We featured Nanette, we featured Dreamboy, Horror the Messiah, Fix. So I'm
Pulling
really,
out all the big guns.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't actually I've stayed away from features before this.
Yeah.
I've kept it very organic. And I think that now's the time to bring in other really talented artists that complement the
And
sound.
is there a reason why you guys are releasing songs every 4 weeks? Is there a particular reason why you guys are doing that?
I think that we want to highlight, we have a lot of songs that we've worked really hard on.
Yeah.
And we don't want them to just fall by the wayside and be album music.
Okay.
We want them to each have their own sort of special release. So we're doing every 4 weeks through Paradise. And the next 4 weeks is going to be a new one. And I'm very excited.
Which one of the songs, and look, it's a very unfair question, but which one of your songs do you think people will really, really resonate with? And when you think about it, you're like, this will be, that's the sweet spot of the album.
I think that I have my babies on the album that are close to my heart, but that's because I know why I wrote them.
Yeah.
But in terms of the reaction and the response so far, I think that there's a single with Dreamboy.
Uh-huh.
It's called Girls Wanna Have Fun. And it's a little different from my sound. It's more of like Afro,
Okay.
and it's a bit more up tempo. We're releasing it in the spring for summertime. I think that's going to be a jam.
And what about that song do you think is going to be that in like what gives it that particular feeling?
I think it's just a very feel-good song.
Okay.
I don't usually make music for the club. This seems to be like a bit of a club banger. And everybody that hears it has the same reaction.
Okay.
Makes them smile, gives them a good energy. And it's one of those songs that you can't help dancing to. So, yeah, I think it's going to be...
Can't wait to hear
I think
it.
it's going to
And
be
then, I mean,
special.
as we head to the final part of the interview, what about the relaunch of yourself as an artist, but also as an individual? Would you like people to learn, like, what takeaways in terms of the woman you've become, the woman in music, and just also just as an individual? Would you like to, I think, people to learn from you, like, what should they glean when they see your work and listen to it, but also read about it and also see you at the conference?
Yeah, so like I said, I hope to deliver a message and make people feel something. That's the reason I got into music to begin with, because music literally changed my life and the course of my life. And that's what I want people to feel.
Yeah.
I want them not to just take my music for face value. Go and listen to the lyrics properly. It's not what you think it is. A lot of the songs, people think that they hear a love song and they're like, oh, she's writing about a guy, or
Yeah.
it's not the case. It's a lot deeper. So spend some time with the music. It really is my soul, and it's the closest, it's the best and easiest way to get to know me is
Yeah.
through listening to the music. And yeah, I'm just going to stay true to myself and true to the journey. And I'm excited. I'm excited to keep releasing.
Cool. I'm going to give you 5 words. And the 5 words, every time I say them out, I just want you to tell me exactly what comes into your head and what your feeling is about them.
Cool.
One of them is going to be music, since you are a musician. So music.
Peace.
Skies.
Blue.
Love.
Trust.
Friendship.
Happiness.
Spirit.
Magic.
Cool. And on that magical note, skies are blue. Thank you so much for joining us on Trace Catch-Up Sessions.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. And just like that, we are done. Join us next time on Trace Catch-Up Sessions. I'm Lelo Motswane, and this is a goodbye.